today. My name is Tanya Boyd. I'm the Director of Creative Collaboration here at Project Success Academy. Apologize, we've been having a little bit of tech issues this morning, so I'm sure everybody's familiar with tech gremlins, but I'm glad that y'all are all able to be here today for this. With that, I'd love to welcome Natalie. She's the owner of Project Management Life, and she's going to be sharing a lot of great tips and a lot of great content on sustainable performance. So, with that, I'll leave it to Natalie.
And I know we've got people continuing to join. We've got a really great group today. I want to heartily welcome everyone. I know many of you are either on your lunch hour right now. Some of you it might be early in the morning, and some of you it might actually be the evening. We tend to be relatively global, which is just amazing to see everyone join us. So appreciate everyone's coming and spending some time with us today on what I would consider a very important topic. Let me just quickly introduce myself. I just want to warmly welcome everyone. Today we're going to try to stay to 1 hour. Tanya, I'm going to invite you just to keep me at task from a time perspective. I want to recognize that everyone is busy and we are here for a topic because we are so busy. We are going to be talking about sustainable performance, and today really is an introduction to this. It is something from a project management perspective we don't talk about enough. You are all going to get, if you are registered with Project Management Institute, you will get one PDU from today. We will have a PDU code that we're going to give to everyone at the end of today's session. And if you're unable to stay to the end, you can check out the recording afterwards, and we'll make sure that you have the ability to claim that through PMI. So again, my name's Natalie Berkiw-Scenna. I am so thrilled to be with all of you today. I am the founder of Project Management Life. We've been around now for about a year and a half, coming up on. So I've been in project management, believe it or not, in 10 days from now, it will be 25 years for me. I have been doing this for a long time. It is just absolutely amazing to be in this line of work. And if any of you are seasoned the way I am, you know that it comes with bumps and bruises, and it has high times as well. We have great wins and we have some lows as well. So today, what I really want to talk about is from a project management life perspective, we're not focused just on training and certification. We have incredible partners like Tanya and Project Success Academy that does the PMP and the CAPM and those types of things. We cover everything else. We cover health and well-being. We cover career and personal branding, some project management, obviously, as well. And then we get into things like sustainable performance and human sustainability, which we're going to talk a little bit more about today. And so I'm not going to get too much into the story of myself and my background, but that's just a quick recap of where we're at right now from a project management life perspective. So just from an agenda, because we've got a lot to cover today, and then I'm going to invite some questions at the very end. But I will invite everyone to leverage the chat today because I do want to get feedback from everyone today. I think this is a really great opportunity for me to understand where you're at and whether this content really resonates with you, because this for me is my lived experience. This is my 25 years of life in the project management field, and I wanted to share that with my colleagues around the world. So we're going to talk a little bit, I'm just going to quickly introduce project management life a little bit further. And then I want to frame what is sustainable performance versus unsustainable performance. And I think this is going to resonate with all of you. And I'm assuming that you're all here because maybe you have a sense that maybe I've been working in an unsustainable way, at least in some point of my career. I just want to quickly touch on the sustainable performance framework for project leaders. And what that is really 4 foundational skills that are all interrelated, that really impact whether we can work in a way that is truly sustainable. And then we'll talk about what's next. If you're interested in going a little bit deeper, we'll talk about how you can truly master sustainable performance. So PML is a global community. We are designed to support project managers and project leaders, and that you don't have to necessarily have a project management title. many leaders across all organizations lead projects. So we want you to thrive both personally and professionally. And here at Project Management Life, we're here to help you build a sustainable, fulfilling career and offer a space for you to connect, for you to recharge, and discover new ways to live your best life. So again, we are based on 5 pillars. I've already kind of touched on those. You can see those there on the screen. So we offer a number of things. So we do have a community newsletter. Many of you, I think, on this call are on our newsletter, and I'm so glad to see so many familiar names and some faces here. So we have our weekly Tuesday newsletter through the Project Management Life community. We have a blog. 90% of our blog are contributors from our community. So it is not PML that is providing that content. It is truly a global community that is sharing content. So I do invite you to check it out. And if you would like to contribute and contribute to our wealth of knowledge, I would love for you to be able to do that. And then, of course, we've got live events, we've got a membership, we have retreats, and we have some courses coming soon too. So many different ways that you can engage with PML. And as well, of course, our partner project Success Academy offers the amazing training piece of it. So I encourage you to check both of our sites out. But just projectmanagementlife.org is our website. So I invite you, when you have a few free minutes, and I know we don't have too many of those, but when you do have a chance, I do invite you to check us out and just learn a little bit more about PML. So let's jump right into the meat of it, because again, we've got a lot to go through today. So let's talk about, first of all, what is sustainable performance? Let's put a definition around it. Sustainable performance is the ability to deliver consistent, high quality results without burning ourselves out in the process, right? We are high achievers. That is just the reality of the type of people that tend to go into this field. We want to do good work, and we want to feel proud of the work that we do at the end of the day. But if we're burning out, it becomes really, really challenging to do that consistently over time. So the goal is to really provide consistent, high quality results. And we can do that through 4 different ways: by protecting our focus and attention, by intentionally managing our energy, by doing realistic capacity planning, because we're constantly firefighting, and by setting professional boundaries. And we talk about this sometimes, but we don't talk about it enough. So that is really a definition around sustainable performance. Now, I know everyone on this call, we're all rock stars, right? We all try to do really, really great work, and we try to lead our projects in the best way that we can. But what I hear consistently is that we're often feeling stressed, we feel overwhelmed, we sometimes get to a point of burnout. And I have my own personal burnout story, which I won't get into today, but I've had times where I've been working consistent 16 hours a day, working till 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, literally falling asleep over my laptop with one eye open, trying to get my work done, and then having time on the weekends where I was just still trying to get caught up. And some of you are going to feel that burn as well. If you ever feel like you're constantly in reactive mode and you don't have time to just think strategically and think about, okay, what are the next steps that I need to do? That is a sign of unsustainable performance. Firefighting and always having to be on when you're in that state of urgency all the time, or maybe you're feeling like you just don't have time to take care of your own health and well-being. You're going to bed late. Maybe you're skipping meals because you've got back-to-back meetings. You're not getting enough exercise. You're not, hydrating enough. There's so many things that we need to consider from our health and well-being perspective. So what does unsustainable performance actually look like? Let's talk about the tangible, right? We already talked about feeling stressed and overwhelmed and mentally exhausted, but it could show up in your energy. If you have days where you're just like, I just can't handle this. Why is it not 4 o'clock yet? Your energy is really low, and your energy changes throughout the day. You're feeling again like you're being reactive. You just don't have time to think proactively and think about those next steps. You're feeling unfocused. Maybe you're being pulled in so many different directions, and working late at night. just to feel like you're catching up. And that's what I referred to earlier. Or maybe a message comes through. I don't know if anyone on the call has had a chat message come through and you're like, I'm just going to respond to it. I know it's 8 o'clock, but I'm going to do it anyways because they'll just get it over with, right? But you're not setting boundaries that way. Constant firefighting, dealing with the next urgent issue, saying yes by default. I'm sometimes a yes girl, and Amanda and I had a wonderful conversation. If you check out the podcast, we were having a good conversation about that as well. And Amanda, you shared a wonderful story about always saying yes, but sometimes we don't pause to think, do I actually have the capacity to take one more thing on? Just a quick show of hands, seem does that seem like it resonates with everyone? Yeah, let's keep going here because I still have, unfortunately, we have more. So the other part is just feeling like you can't catch up, right? Always feeling like, again, you're being asked to do one more thing. I love it. Thank you for all the thumbs up. Those are awesome. Not because you're feeling this way, but because I know I'm with my people here. No time to problem solve, right? You're just in reactive mode, so you just don't have time to truly think things through. And feeling like you're busy, but I don't know if any of you have had at the end of the day, you had a to-do list and you didn't even touch your to-do list. You feel like you didn't accomplish anything, even though you were busy all day. You're sacrificing your health, which we talked about, feeling like everything's a priority, everything's coming at you, everything's important, trying to multitask constantly. And then sometimes you're just procrastinating because you're just in a state of overwhelm. So I'm going to pause there because I know that's a lot. And I probably just brought up feelings of, uh, yeah, exactly. Isabel, thank you for sharing that. This is again lived experience that I've had, and I know that many of my colleagues are in the same boat. So, have you ever experienced a time where you felt like were unsustainable? And I know you've already given me some thumbs up, but what was it that made you feel this way? And I'm going to bring up my chat because I'm realizing I'm not able to see it as effectively as I'd like to here. Here we go. Yes. My to-do ends up being my to-don't. Yeah, I love that. Yes. Too many projects to focus on to do my best. Isn't that definitely an issue? That is a capacity concern that we are going to cover a little bit today. So thank you for sharing that. I do appreciate it. So let me go ahead and keep going here. So high performance, here's the thing we don't tend to talk about enough here is we want to be high performers. We're high achievers. That's just naturally what we do. We want to often be always available. We want to respond to things really quickly. Again, we tend to say yes to things just by default. We're always trying to absorb more work just this one time, right? Okay, I'll take one more thing on. And we're always trying to save the day because the reality is the amount of projects that are off the rails, we call them sometimes train wrecks, and we're coming in, sometimes we're pulled into projects that are failing because they know we can help save the day. And so we're often happy to do that. We always wear a cape. I love that, Crystal. We're trying to be superheroes, but sometimes to our own detriment. We're being seen as reliable because we're willing to stretch ourselves thin. Sometimes our organizations seem to expect that from us. So let me keep moving here. So if that sounds familiar, then again, I'm with my people here. We're all in this together. We're in the same boat. All right. So apologize for 1 second. I'm just going to move something over here on my screen. When you're sharing, you get fun little pop-ups that come up. There we go. All right, sounds good. All right, now let's talk about what the ideal state looks like. We're going to shift gears a little bit and talk about what actual sustainable performance looks like and feels like for us. So first of all, urgency is not constant. If you're constantly in a state of urgency, then you're working in an unsustainable way. But when things are cyclical, and we'll get into that a little bit more, that is more sustainable. When we feel busy and productive, and at the end of the day, we feel like we've actually, like, we've had a hell yeah, that was a great day, even though we're exhausted and mentally depleted, maybe a little bit, we're not like at the stage where like, oh my God, that was a rough day. And now tomorrow I have to do this all over again, right? That feeling of that rat race. Understanding your highest priorities. I mentioned in the unsustainable part that everything's a priority. When you have multiple projects, which was mentioned, and all of your projects are equally as high priority, that's where you run into issues. Having dedicated time built into your calendar for thinking and planning and being strategic. If you have that, you're working more sustainably. Scheduling your most challenging tasks during your most focused hours of the day. So we'll talk a little bit about more this about this in our energy section. Time built in for recovery after intense delivery. We do not, like, we often go from one like milestone and we immediately start the next thing. We don't even have time to celebrate it or think about it, or, sometimes even capturing lessons learned is challenging because we're immediately jumping into the next thing. And trade-offs are openly discussed, right? If I'm going to take this on, it means I'm going to do less of something else. So that is what sustainable performance looks like. And I have more. So stay with me for a little bit longer here for this, because I truly want you to get a really good picture of what the ideal state looks like that I really want you to get to. It's being able to also pause before you say yes, and you actually just exploring your capacity first, right? It's saying, give me a moment to check my capacity and I'll get back to you, versus just saying yes automatically. It's defining reasonable response times and setting those clear expectations. How many of you, when you get a chat message, feel you have to respond immediately? It's that feeling of immediacy, like I need to be reliable, I need to be on, I need to perform, I need to show that I'm at my best. Well, I guess the reality you're going to have to think about is it an urgent request, or is it something that can wait 30 minutes while you finish up what you're doing, right? So those are the types of things I want you to think about as we go through today. The ability to enjoy activities outside of work without answering emails or thinking about work. If you've ever been at a kids event and you're still replying to emails, or you're at a family event or it's the weekend and you're responding, that's not sustainable. Being mentally sharp and able to problem solve. You can think clearly under pressure instead of like being in that, oh my gosh, because you're asked something and your brain is just trying to filter through everything. Also having dedicated time for deep work, self-care, and some of those administrative tasks. So that is what sustainable performance truly looks like. And that feels sometimes like a hard place to get to. So I'm just going to invite everyone just to take a quick pause and just take a deep breath, because I just gave you a lot of information. So just everyone, deep breath in, let it out, right? I want you to absorb what the positive side looks like, because I think we all often live in that negative, more unsustainable side of things. So again, I just want to stress that if you are constantly in that high intensity, go, 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 things are coming at you, everything's urgent, you're always firefighting, that is not sustainable. You will eventually get to a point of high stress and burnout. It is just inevitable. I've been there. It is not a fun place to be. And I imagine many of you on the call have either been there, have been close to there, have had like days where you're just, your immune system is lowered because you're getting sick more often because you're just not taking that time to recover. What is sustainable is high intensity still, but it's cyclical. It's time limited. It has a window. It has a start and a stop. it looks more like a cyclical wave, right? That is normal. Even if the wave coming down is short, you've got 1 day to recover, that is still recovery time that's really critical. So again, busy seasons are normal. Crisis mode as a baseline is not. Busy periods should be followed by rest, recovery, and planned decompression. So just remember this, because we all often think that go, go, go is a good thing. That's being able to do that is more about endurance. That's not performance, right? For us to perform at our best, we need to mentally be able to recover. We need to physically recover as well. Does this resonate with everyone so far? Feeling it? Like that makes sense? Perfect. All right. So why is this important? Why are we talking about sustainable performance, especially today? So we know project managers, project leaders, we used to have it. I don't want to say we had it easy, but I remember the days where it literally was just scope, time, budget, like just we had to manage those kind of things. But today we are working in a very different capacity. We are working as true business partners, right? We are working alongside our leads. We are working with executives. We are within the organization. We have a face within the organization. Often we are the face of our projects. We are expected to deliver faster, uh, manage increased complexity, and maintain constant engagement of different stakeholders. Sometimes we have different project teams. They all have vastly different needs. Our stakeholders have different needs. They may want different needs within one project, and you're trying to manage and juggle that all at once. And so that sustained urgency leads to cognitive overload and burnout. So sustainable performance, I'm not going to tell you that you need to work less. We don't. That's not what it's about. It is about uh, leading in a way that truly is about clarity. It's about finding resilience and executing over time versus in a way that is truly sustainable, in a way that we've already sort of talked a little bit about. We're going to get into all of the details there. And I appreciate all the comments in the chat. Tanya, I'm struggling a little bit to manage those, so I'll just pause here for a second and see if there's anything you want to highlight from today.
Sure. I think it's a lot of it right now isn't as much questions, but it's just validating that the material makes sense because from the conversations, and I appreciate the transparency because I feel like you said earlier, Natalie, we're in our tribe. We understand we're high achievers. Our
Mhm.
schedules are chaotic. We're all managing AI. So a lot of it is just, it's amazing, amazing conversations that are happening in the chat. So thank you to all of you. But I will keep a lookout for specific questions too
I
and let you know.
appreciate that. And
You're
I will
welcome.
say I'm now working finally. I had my period of time in my career where I was working unsustainably. I do work in a sustainable way. Not only do I still work full time at a large 22 hospital system and provide program management there, but I also lead and run Project Management Life, and I do not feel burned out. I feel energized. I love what I do, and it's all about managing to my energy, which we'll talk about here shortly. But I do want to just let you know that sustainable performance doesn't happen just by chance. We have to truly design it. We have to be intentional about how we protect our focus, our energy, our capacity, and our boundaries. So I just want to quickly introduce you to the sustainable performance framework for project leaders. And the reason it's truly a framework is because each of these is not independent. These are interrelated. And if you've ever tried to take up a productivity hack where you tried to be more productive and it didn't work, the reason is because you only looked at it from one factor, right? These are interdisciplinary. They truly, or multidisciplinary. They are truly dependent on each other. And so that is why I really want to cover all of these with you today. So I believe, and this is just from my personal experience, I believe the future of project leadership We truly require a model that supports our ability to deliver consistent, high quality results and not burn ourselves out in the process, right? Because of those higher expectations on us, we need to be able to do more and do it in a way that's sustainable without burning ourselves out. So again, it is 4 key areas. It is protected focus, it is intentional energy management, it is realistic capacity planning, and professional boundaries. And I am just monitoring the time. I see it's 12:55 for me. So I'm going to just start to get through some of these so we can make sure we've got plenty of time to get through it and have some time for questions. So cognitive load management, focus, and the cost of context switching. These are the things I want to talk about under the attention bucket of this work, if you will, this framework. So if you've heard, I'm sure many of you have heard the term cognitive load, but what truly is it, right? It is the amount of energy and effort our brain requires while reasoning and thinking. And we have limits. We can only take on so much. So if you've ever had a day where yes, exactly. If you've had days where you just feel like you've had too much, you just want to like lie down, get under the covers and and hide from the world. I've had those days. I truly know what that means to have cognitive load. But it is impacted by high volumes of work, constant interruptions, nonstop urgent fires, multitasking, constant context switching when you're going from one project to the next, to the next, to the next throughout the day, back-to-back meetings. I think I just maybe saw that in the comment there, and too many commitments. All of these are a recipe for cognitive load, right? And having it just simply too high for us to physically manage. Context switching is a little bit different. It is about shifting our focus. And if you have multiple projects or you've got multiple meetings throughout the day, or you're trying to manage multiple tasks, you are probably context switching throughout the day 20, 30 times, right? Every time you're in the middle of doing some work and someone taps you on the shoulder or sends you a chat message and it's not about what you're actually working on, your brain has to physically stop what you're doing, context switch, what are they talking about, and then try to remember to get back to what you were doing previously. So I want you to consider this. Every time you are interrupted, it could take up to 20 minutes before you get back to what you were doing before. I experience this when somebody interrupts me and I'm in the middle of deep work. I will forget what I was working on, and then I'll be like, well, I'm going to check my email. I'm going to go on LinkedIn. I'm going to do this. Oh, wait, I was working on something, right? And I have a deadline, and now I've caught myself behind. But if you can imagine up to 20 minutes multiple times every day, how do you as a project leaders, how do we be effective? How at the end of the day can we truly get all of our work done and not feel like we have to keep working those extra hours, or that's yeah, Amanda, that's you for sure. It's a reality. So I just want you to consider that, right? And we'll get into why that is. So struggling with your focus, again, this is the attention bucket, really means that sometimes your work quality is going to suffer. You can make more mistakes. This happens periodically. Has anyone ever read an email and read it incorrectly because you were just scanning it really quickly? And then you respond back and they're like, wait, what? Or maybe it's the other way around. You sent a really detailed message to your team and then they got back to you and they're like, and the response didn't make any sense because maybe they're context switching and they didn't read it properly, right? So work quality can be impacted. Simone, thank you. That's awesome. Yes, it happens. Struggle with decision making. Sometimes, just again, when we're unfocused, it's hard to sometimes make decisions, and trying to be intentional because it feels mentally heavy. Communication challenges. Again, you might miss key details in conversations or emails. You ask people to repeat things or clarify. Maybe you're less present and engaged with stakeholders. If you've ever been in a meeting and you're thinking about the last conversation you had instead of being present, right? That's struggling with your focus. So protected focus, on the other hand, looks like, you've got your calendar has intentional focus blocks, not just meetings. If we're just managing our calendar for meetings only, we're not actually leveraging that really great tool for ourselves. You're working on one priority at a time and not juggling multiple tasks. We all think we're great multitaskers. Nobody is, right? Your brain only has the capacity to think truly about one thing to do it well. Notifications are muted. We mentioned this in the podcast too. 20 minutes of your time where your phone is muted or on do not disturb, the world is not going to come to an end, right? You will get a little bit more focused time because you're not getting that constant ping. You've got clear priorities before you're starting the work. You don't have to guess what's a priority. Meetings are clustered, leaving space for uninterrupted, actual focused deep work. You're proactively structuring your day. You're not just reacting to it. And you have fewer, more meaningful tasks, transactions. So you're not constantly constant switching. And you can do that by batching and those types of things. So I'm throwing a lot of information at you. Everyone's still with me or still all okay? It's resonating. Awesome. So we're just going to do some quick tips because we don't have a lot of time in today's call, but just some quick tips. Batch similar work together, right? Send all your emails, schedule it for, a certain period of time where you can get all your emails, and that way you're doing one thing. Work on one project at a time. Maybe schedule an afternoon where you're just doing project work for that one project instead of like, I'm going to update this documentation for this project, then I'm going to go over here and do a meeting about this project. If you can, try to batch things. Limit the number of times you check your emails and chat messages. One of the things all of us are really bad at is the first thing we do in the morning is we open up our email and we get down a rabbit hole, right? We start trying to fight fires versus spending the first half hour, 60 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever, trying to actually knock something off of our task list before we start responding to emails. Minimizing the number of tabs and documents you have open so that you don't have to, okay, my husband has like 100 tabs open and I see his computer and just like, oh my gosh, how do you can't stay focused that way, right? Because you're trying to spend so much time actually trying to find what you're looking for. So if you're like that, then that could be an option for you. Tackle something again on your to-do list before you check your email. So I mentioned that already. Let's talk about energy. Managing our energy levels and leveraging peak performance times. So we have our energy fluctuates throughout the day, right? Time is fixed, our energy is not. We feel different on a Monday when we wake up and go to work and we're like, oh, here we go again, right? Versus a Thursday feels very different from us. And the same thing with like 10, 11 in the morning is going to feel very different from 3 p.m. in the afternoon. And that all has to do with our our circadian rhythm, right? We all naturally go through rhythms throughout the day. And then we have shorter ones called ultradian rhythms as well. So those are like 90 to 120 minute cycles where we are high energy and then it goes down to low energy. So it's not about working less. It is about aligning the right work to the right energy level. And this is where I said, I'm still working a full-time position and I lead PML because I slot information or slot work into when I have my highest energy and I'm able to output things very quickly. And then I have my downtime. So managing your energy instead of your time, your week becomes more strategic instead of reactive. So let me ask you a couple questions and you can drop it in the chat. But when do you think best during the day? You can answer any of these questions. When do you feel most mentally sharp? When does your energy dip? When do you struggle the most to focus? Thinking about activities that drain you versus fuel you, right? There are certain things that, in the day that's like, oh yes, I love this. Like maybe it's going for lunch with your team, right? Maybe you don't get to see them very often. You go for lunch and you just feel energized. What time of the day do you feel most irritable or impatient? Right? We all have those moments. And then what time of day do you feel naturally most creative and strategic? I'm seeing a lot of mornings. Yes. So naturally with our circadian rhythm, the morning is for most people. That's awesome. You're on fire. That's love it. Um, we most of us as humans, we are most energized, most mental, we have our best mental clarity in the morning, and then it dips later in the afternoon. So if you're trying to put your most strategic work in the middle of the afternoon, everything's going to take you longer than it should. So I'm what patterns do you notice about your energy? I'm already seeing I love it. I'm already seeing some comments in the chat. So I think this is resonating with everyone. I think you're feeling it as well, right? You do recognize within yourself that you have higher energy moments of the day and then other days that are more challenging. So struggling with your energy really feels like deep work. You're squeezing it into what little bit of time you have left. You have mental fog. Caffeine, if anyone is caffeine fiend, you know exactly what that looks like in the afternoon. Yep, thank you. Cheers to all of you. Right? Just trying to keep going in the afternoon sometimes can be challenging, and we try to find ways to keep ourselves going, and sometimes that can be challenging. Caffeine is not necessarily the best way to do it, but it is something that unfortunately we've become reliant on. We feel mentally exhausted. Sundays are like, oh God, another Monday's coming already. How did that weekend go by so quickly? So we're constantly in survival mode. I've got so much here. I hope I can get through all of this. You can see why I hope you can see I'm truly passionate about this subject. This is something that is I think we all live and breathe. So this is the intentional. What does it look like on the good side, right? So we can clearly describe when you think the best, right? And I think many of you have done that in the chat. You know that morning versus the late afternoon or something like that works best for you. You can recognize when your energy dips. Maybe it's after lunch, maybe after a big heavy meal. And you know what energizes you and sustains you versus what drains you. So when you know that, you can actually be proactive and think differently about how you organize your day. It's also matching the right task to the right energy level. It's not stacking high emotion meetings back to back, right? When you walk out of a meeting and you're like, oh my God, what just happened? And then you're literally immediately starting another meeting and you haven't had time to context switch and just reset. Uh, that's exhausting. So when you don't do that, when you limit those back to back and give yourself even 15 minutes, that's enough time to just have that quick energy recovery and renewal. So you're adjusting your workload appropriately. So again, some quick tips. Schedule things like strategic planning, writing, deep thinking, difficult conversations. When you're in your highest energy window, again, schedule these things in the morning. If you're spending your whole morning just in meetings, you're losing that opportunity to do your most deep focused work. Now, sometimes that's not within our control, but you can be rescheduling blocks in your calendar in advance so people don't block over it. Schedule your administrative tasks, your emails when you're in your lowest energy window, build recovery into your day, and consider activities that will replenish your energy. Nutrient-rich foods, we're often on the go. We grab a bag of chips, we grab a chocolate bar, we grab candy, whatever it is, to our coffee. We should be thinking about nutrient-rich foods, hydration, restorative sleep, exercise. Those all boost our energy and keep us going. Capacity. Oh my goodness, we've got 20 minutes left. So let's get through this. So we've got capacity-based planning versus firefighting. So when you're firefighting, you feel the need to respond to everything. You drop everything you're doing when a high urgent request comes through. You respond immediately when an email comes in or a chat. You feel everyone else's urgent problem becomes your urgent problem, right? You're matching panic with panic. If you've ever received an executive sponsor or a leader that comes to you and says, I need you to fix this today. Like it's 3:30. I need this by 4 o'clock. You all know what that feels like, right? You're in reactive mode. So someone else waited till the last minute. Now, again, their panic is your panic. Lack of clarity of what done actually means. So that's sometimes just that's scope discussions that haven't fully been fleshed out. You feel the need to respond after hours, and everyone thinks you have infinite capacity, right? You again, your cape. You've got the cape. You are the superhero. So have you ever felt that you've had to be in firefighting mode and always on? Does that resonate with everyone? Yeah. All right. So now let's look at the opposite of that, capacity-based planning. So it's understanding how many focused hours you truly have in a week, aligning your work to realistic throughput. It's accounting for meetings, administrative tasks, and interruptions within your schedule. It's not just if you've ever had the whole day where you just thought you had everything planned out and then everything got interrupted, it's because you didn't plan for those interruptions. You actually have to think about that. You have to build in capacity for something's going to go wrong, right? I'm going to have to firefight something. Trade-offs are visible. You're having open conversations about if I'm going to take X on, it means Y is going to have to, wait till next week. Or I can take that on, but I can't take it on until 2 weeks from now, right? It's having those conversations around trade-offs. Constraints are escalated early. You're building in buffers within your calendar again for those inevitable surprises. You understand the real deadlines instead of arbitrary dates. This drives me nuts. We do this within my organization all the time. We just say something is due by this X date, and there's no explanation about why it's due that date, right? Sometimes arbitrary dates are put on there, and I understand they're meant to keep people compliant with what they need to do, but if it's not a real deadline and it's putting you as a project lead in a state of stress, that is challenging. Again, you're not matching people's panic level, right? You are distinguishing what's a true emergency, and you are gut checking that before you start reacting. You're creating clear response expectations. So if someone messages you, you don't have to respond in that instant. Finish what you're doing unless it truly is it's coming from an executive sponsor or something like that. It can wait 20 minutes. The world will not come to an end, right? And building an offline windows without guilt and delegating coverage when you need to. So again, just some quick tips, trade-offs. Think about, making sure that you're prioritizing with your stakeholders. You're building in buffer time. You're evaluating new asks and really determining the level of urgency. You're scheduling deep focus time into your calendar and protecting that time. And when you do schedule time in your calendar, don't put focus time, put no meetings, right? You want if I see focus time, guess what? I'm stealing that time. Right? So you want to actually block it and say no meetings during this time. You have to be very specific about that and protect it fiercely, right? That is your time to protect. Put a wall around it, whatever you need to do. That is your time. All right, the last section is boundaries. So setting healthy boundaries without guilt. Many of us tend to be people pleasers, right? It comes in our nature. We want to say yes to one more thing. We are always seem to be happy to do that, and at our own detriment, right? Boundary setting really is about protecting your time and your energy, and it is a form of self-care and self-respect. Now, we often feel guilty if we don't, right? We feel guilty because we're putting ourselves first. We might fear how other people are reacting to us saying no, right? No is a full sentence. Or we feel torn because we want to be helpful, but we're also want to stand up for our own needs. And it's that in between stage that we feel we're challenged by. I can't wait to read all the comments later, and I apologize that I can't keep up with them right now, but I'm so excited. I see it going. So that's awesome. So some common boundary issues, taking on someone else's responsibility when a member of your project team falls behind. If you've ever had someone on your team that's just not performing and you just jump in and like, I'm just going to do it because it needs to get done. And you're now, that's a boundary issue because, it's not technically your responsibility. You're responding to emails late at night. You're checking messages constantly, just in case something comes through. I better just keep checking my emails. You're staying logged in. You feel guilty when you're offline. Anyone ever feel guilty because you're just like, you're actually taking a day off? Anyone check their email while they're on vacation? Yes. Been there, done that. I just came back from Florida last week. I enjoyed my time. I did not check my email. I'm taking a break. I needed it. It was good. So these are boundary issues. So also responding or instantly to non-urgent requests. I mentioned that already. So if a text message or a chat message or something comes through and it's not actually urgent, you still feel the need to respond to it, right? Saying yes to everything, delivering late due to overload. Sometimes you're just like, I told you I'll get it by the end of the day, and now it's like 7 o'clock at night. You're still trying to get it finished. Feeling chronically overworked. So some quick tips: set time boundaries including your work hours, response times, and limit after-hour email checking. Hard to do, but you need to have the discipline to do it. Set capacity boundaries as well, and escalate when your plate becomes overloaded. So I heard earlier someone saying, I have so many projects on my plate. That is a capacity concern, and you should feel comfortable having the conversation to say, I need to understand which ones are the highest priorities, right? So that you're focusing your energy where it needs to be. Don't say yes to everything. Pause before you do it. Even just if it's 10 minutes, I'll get back to you, and determine whether you truly can take it. Set scope boundaries, and also emotional boundaries by pausing before you react. Maintain your professional composure and staying calm. Sometimes we get wrapped up in all the chaos that just tends to happen with projects. And so we need to set that boundary that we're not going to get wrapped up in the chaos. We're going to be professional. We're going to stay calm and composed. So again, quick review of the framework. Sustainable performance can be achieved when we look at all of these in totality, right? It is not one or the other. It is our protected focus, our intentional energy management, it's realistic capacity planning, and setting professional boundaries. We have to think again about this in totality. So today you learned all about the what, right? What is sustainable performance? What is unsustainable? What is cognitive load? What is constant context switching look like? What does protected focus look like? Et cetera, et cetera. We talked about the what. We got into that. We just basically scratched the surface into how to perform sustainably, right? Hopefully you at least took some tips away from today. That is truly my hope. But we covered really the foundation of sustainable performance. This is where there's just clearly, I mean, I'm talking quickly and we have an hour, and I can still keep going. As you can see, there's just so much to cover in this because this is an undiscussed topic. We do not, as project leaders, truly take the time to think about ourselves and how do we do our work the most effectively. So the real transformation really truly happens when we have the space, the structure, and the support to be able to design our sustainable career in life. But one of the things I hate to hear is, again, 25 years, I've seen project leaders, project managers that get so exhausted with this work because they're not working sustainably that they say, I give up, I'm done, I'm changing fields. I don't want to do this anymore. I need something else. And that is the saddest thing I've ever heard because this is such a fulfilling career if you're working in a sustainable way, and it can be exhausting if you're not. So I truly believe this is something that's important. If anyone is interested, I would absolutely warmly welcome you to join us. We are going to be doing a half-day virtual retreat where we're really going to get into the how. Today, we just talked about, again, the what. We did not talk about how to get into actually applying the framework. I'm gonna be talking for a good while about this. Plus, what I really want to do is I want to bring professionals together that have that lived experience as well, and create that dedicated time so we can all create sort of a personalized approach. I know what works well for me. I want to support others to figure out what works best for you. There is a cost to this, of course. However, I don't want you to feel that that should be a barrier. Many organizations actually do have budget for professional development, and that's what this is. This is a professional development opportunity. I want you to think about it in that perspective. So if you are interested in it, but budget is a concern, I do invite you to think about approaching your manager, and we have some tools, and we have a draft email for you that you can actually provide that actually offers that for you so that you can take that next step, and explore that. But the ability, again, to perform sustainably and deliver consistent high quality results without burning out directly impacts how you show up, it impacts your projects, and you're ultimately going to deliver better project results because you're working in a sustainable fashion. So we're doing it on May 22nd. If anyone is interested, for those of us in the US, I'm in Royal Oak, Michigan. It is just before a long weekend, but if you are want to take that time with us, it is from 9 o'clock to 1 o'clock Eastern time. I would warmly welcome all of you, whoever is interested. If you'd like to go deeper, I would absolutely love to have you there. We are going to go deeper into the framework. We have a personal sustainability audit that we're going to go through. We've got a cognitive load audit because, again, thinking about all the different things we have on our mind and calling it out and understanding it, being able to visually see it, right? Mapping our energy and understanding how we scope out our work to actually match our energy throughout the day. We're going to look at capacity and commitment. We've got a boundary setting toolkit that we're going to provide, and we're really going to spend some time in design. What does a sustainable week for you actually look like? Because I want you to build out a personalized plan that you can, create your own commitment to. Within the next 30 days, I'm going to do this. Within the next 60 days, I'm going to do that. It's 149 up to, I think, a week from now. We've got an early bird. If anyone's interested, it's early bird 30 is the discount code. If you are a PMI member and you have your PMP, you have your Agile professional designation, you've got CAPM, all of those things, you need PDUs. So this is another opportunity. You'll get 4 PDUs for those 4 hours. You will get a professional development certificate in sustainable performance and leadership. You'll get access to all the tools, as well as PML. We have a membership as well that we'll offer to you for free as well for a year. If you are interested, we do have, so here's access to the flyer. If anyone has their phone, we can send this out afterwards as well if anyone's interested. But again, it just provides a 1-page flyer and an email that you can send to your leader. And it just says, I found this sustainable performance professional development opportunity. Would you consider supporting it from a financial perspective to help me, be better at what I do, be a better project manager, be bringing my best self to our projects. I don't want financial to be a burden for folks. So you'll be surrounded by, we've got wonderful people on the call here. You are all my people. I know you all understand what we're going through. You will be surrounded by people who are going through the same thing. We will be having open discussions and conversations. The intent is for us to do this together. We'll build it together, what that sustainable plan looks like. And if you are interested in registering, I think and Amanda or Sloan is dropping it into the chat. This is the broader site, but we do have a page specifically for the retreat. If you are interested, I would love for you to join us. And if not, I truly hope that you got some real value and really this opened your eyes into what does it really look like to work unsustainably versus what does sustainable performance look like, right? Because I think we get so busy, we don't have the time to think about it. And this is what I truly wanted you to have the time to do today, to really absorb what does it look like and have that personal reflection to say, I've been working unsustainably. I get it. That's me. And so if you do have your PMI certification and you do need PDUs, please write this down. We can email this out afterwards, or you'll see it'll be in the video. Everyone's going to get access to the video for this. But this is your PDU claim code through Project Management Institute. Again, I want to just hugely thank you all for joining today and taking this time for yourself, right? This is all personal exploration for yourself. This is exploring where you are today, what, and obviously this content was, at least the topics interested you, which tells me that maybe you were working in an unsustainable way. So again, thanks for taking this time, whether it's your lunch hour, morning, evening. Appreciate all of you. Tanya, anything you want to just add to close
Sure.
up?
Well, I want to say thank you to you. You always provide such amazing advice, and I can tell it comes from the heart too. I mean, I know when I first met you, it reminded me of doing wellness blogs at a job I used to have years ago because it's something that I believe in heavily and I think it's really, really important. I hope that some of you will choose to join us at the virtual retreat. I will be in the 4 hours in there as well. And I think it is going to allow the time for a lot more in-depth conversations because this is a lot of a territory to cover. And I realize we haven't had the opportunity to really, answer as many questions in real time as we would like to. I did drop the PDU information in the chat, but y'all are going to get the video once it processes off of Zoom. I've been referring to tech gremlins. My morning started off by trying to send emails through my regular email, and I got myself locked out of my Microsoft Outlook for 24 hours. So while I can receive emails, I cannot send them. I'll try to send the information through Learn Worlds today, but if that's not possible, y'all forgive me. It may be next Wednesday because I'll be traveling out of state this weekend. But I will get that to y'all. I will get the video. And many of you have our LinkedIn's too. So if I'm not able to answer on email, hit us up on LinkedIn. So, but
And
I
I will
just I
spend time reading the chat shortly after this. And I just thank you all for dropping your feedback, your when it resonated with you and you dropped something in there. Thank you for your participation, for your engagement today. I'm just so glad to know that this resonates with you, and I'm not the only one that has lived through this, right? So again, we're all in this boat together. So I do appreciate that. Um, this is fantastic. I'm so grateful to be with all of my colleagues around the world here. So it's amazing.
It's really cool too. We have people joining us from all over the place. So, I love having that with virtual too. I love getting to see y'all in person as well when I get the opportunity. But on behalf of Project Success Academy, thank you, Natalie, and thank you to everybody that's taken your time to join us here today. So,
Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your Friday and take some time for yourself. Have a cup of tea, whatever you need to do, but have that rest and recovery and build that into this weekend. That's my homework for all of you.
you know,
Have a wonderful weekend. Thanks, everybody. Take care.